Hello, everybody. Good evening. How was your Christmas? I hope everything was very well. So, I'm gonna sing a couple of songs to prepare our environment for the prayer, initial prayer. When life lends a hand, it's time to open up your heart. It's time to love one another. It's time to take part. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, our lives are transforming into song. Our dream become reality. And we join Jesus for eternity. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, our lives are transforming into song. Our dreams become reality. And we join Jesus for eternity. Love in action. Jesus, here I am, my knees on the floor, say thank you, my Lord, for the life that come through this door. Your love is the key to change the entire world. Using these chains wisely, we will live in peace and harmony. Now I understand, helping others is helping myself. Your words now are so crystal clear. Your teachings have no frontiers. To see transformation. You just have to put love in action to see all this transformation. You will just have to put love in action.
Wherever you are, glowing seeds of love, as our Master Jesus taught. You will see that behind every sight there's a flame shining bright, tiny spark created by God. I will follow your path, Father, 'cause nobody's alone in life, and the scars of my destiny will be healed by your love. Disseminate wherever you are, glowing seeds of love, as our Master Jesus taught. As our Master Jesus taught.
Another day, another flower, another minute past the hour. Someday the sky is blue, and suddenly we can't see through. And every day is a fresh new start, when the sun turns off the moonlight. We get another chance to choose the road we want to cruise, and on the other side of the mountain there's always a whole new road, a new beginning calling after every end. There are a million reasons to pick you up after every fall. It's always a win in the new round. the other side of the mountain, there's always a whole new road, and a new beginning calling after every end. And there are a million reasons to pick you up after every fall. It's always a win in the new round. It's always a win in the new round. It's always a win in the new round. It's always a win in the new round.
When I go in to pray, I look for my good Jesus. And when I close my eyes, I can feel all His light. I open my heart for all He has to say. He shows me the best way I can enjoy my life. Jesus, Jesus, they never we apart. Please bring all your light to shine inside my heart. Jesus, Jesus, I can be content. I have your endless love and your protecting hand.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our public meeting. We would like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Before we start, we would like to share a couple of announcements. We ask you to turn your phone notifications off and find a quiet place during this time if possible. Our meeting will have 30-minute presentation followed by Q&A. Following the presentation, we will have a spiritual treatment with passes and magnetized water. So we would like to invite you to set aside a container with water to be magnetized. We also would like to announce that our public meeting is being retransmitted today by Continental Concafras Americas through their Facebook, and will also be retransmitted every Wednesday at 8 p.m. East by Kardec Radio through their Facebook and YouTube. And now we have an invitation for those who want to learn more about Spiritism. Get to Know Spiritism is a free and online course that happens every Saturday at 5:15 p.m. East. And our next class will be on January 7th, which will be about vices, which is an amazing topic. And if you want to join us for our study group, the registration link will be posted in the chat. And now we would like to invite our brother Publio to join us and do the opening prayer for us. Welcome, Publio.
Thank you, Larissa. It's a very, very pleasure to be here to do the initial prayer. So for this, I'd like to ask you, if you permit, stay with us in your thoughts. If it's possible, close your eyes to concentrate your thoughts. And this moment, thanks God for the opportunity to be here once more. We commemorate the Christmas last Sunday, and we feel Jesus Christ close by us. In this moment, ask the permission for the good spirits to be here with us, our mentors, our protectors, also all those spirits that stay with us, waiting for these beautiful moments to learn about the gospel of love. So be with us today and forever. So be it.
Thank you, Publio.
Thank you, Larissa.
So today's topic of the meeting will be do good without ostentation. Under chapter 13, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Items 1 to 4. And it will be facilitated by our brother Rodrigo from Winnipeg. Everyone is welcome to write comments and questions in the chat, and we will be addressing those questions at the end of the talk. And now we would like to invite our tonight's speaker. Welcome, Rodrigo.
Hi, Larissa. Can you see me?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I'm having delays here, so I don't know exactly what's happening in real time. So I need your guidance here before I start.
I think it's okay. I'm able to hear you okay, and I'm seeing you.
Okay, so now.
But we will be in the background if you need us, okay?
Thank you. And let me know if you can see my screen when I share.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so you see first, then I can see. Okay, so that. All right.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, welcome everyone. Welcome back to our Spiritist talk. It's my pleasure to be here today talking about the message of our Master Jesus. And as Larissa mentioned before, so we're gonna reflect today, our reflection will be about do good without ostentation. This is chapter 13. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Items 1 to 4. So I would like to start tonight with two passages from the Gospel. So, and these items are in also the Gospel according to Spiritism, are the items 1 and 2. And the item 1 and 2 are from Matthew. So the first one, I want us to read together. Then we're going to talk about this passage and the next passage towards our presentation. So be careful. Do not do your good works before men. And men here try to understand humanity as humankind in order to sing by them. Otherwise, you will not receive a recompense from your Father in heaven. Thus, whatever you give alms, do not sound the trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and streets, in order to be praised by humanity, people. Verily, I say to you that they have received a reward. But whenever you give alms, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your alms will be in secret, and your Father who sees in secret what has happened will reward you. Just keep that in mind. And let's talk about the second passage. This passage is from Matthew 6 1 to 4. And the second passage is about Matthew 8 1 to 4. After Jesus had come down from the mountain, a large crowd of people followed him. At the same time, a leper came to meet him and worshiped him, saying, Lord, if you will, you can heal me. Jesus reached out to him, touched him, and said, I will it, be healed. In the same instant, the leprosy was healed. Then Jesus said to him, do not tell anyone about this, but go and show yourself to the priests and offer the gift prescribed by Moses so that I may serve as testimony to them. So when you read these two passages, the item 1 and 2, you might become a little bit confused. Because in the first message, Jesus say, well, do good, don't tell others what you do, do this in secret. In this second one, he cure someone, he heal a leprous person and tell them to go to the priests to show. So we have to be aware that there's a lot of context in representation that time. And we need to understand that the way that worked that time, the context, you have the book of death. So the book of death are everyone that died that time. So then for society, leprous people were dead to the society and they were not registered in the book of living. So, and that's what Jesus is telling this person here is go there and tell them that you not death, you're alive. So it's not to show the miracle per se only. So there is more meaning. So, but as we always think about, Jesus has a message behind, a teaching behind any of those passages, and he cannot be more clear because there is a context that time, knowledge of people that time, and then what they are able to understand. So when you think of that passage, really Jesus is invite us to view things from a higher state than ordinary. As always, Jesus invite us to think beyond the material life and think about the spiritual life. One must look past the present life and identify with the future life. And that's why Jesus always said, for those that has ear to hear and eyes to see. So what that meant, all the message has a spiritual perspective, not a materialistic perspective. So when then what that really means. So Jesus, I'm going to try to summarize here the message. Doing good without ostentation holds great merit. So that's the first clue here, merit. So if you do good without show yourself, be show off and show everyone, oh, see how good I am. I'm doing good for this person here. Oh, look at me, and be in the spotlight. So that's what Jesus was talking about. When we are doing good things, we should consider the spiritual life and not the material life rewards. And that's where we have to read this in this sense. So forget about the materialistic view that we have and start to bring your spiritual sight to try to understand. Hidden, the hand that gives it even more meritus is basically if you're doing good things, if you don't show anything and nobody knows, it's even better. You have more meritus. Why? Because you don't feed your ego and your pride. So, sign of great moral elevation. So, those characteristics are very important in this passage. So, another important point is that one must place oneself above humanity in order to renounce the satisfaction that seeks to be witnesses by others and to wait for approval from God. So, why should we do good things? Because doing good things is the right thing to do. We need to renounce, and why we want that satisfaction that people notice us, because we have our ego, our excessive pride, and we need to praise humans other than God. And we have to be aware that we should praise God, not humans. Nobody needs to know what we do, because what matters at the end is the intention. And the intention is about me, my conscience, and God. And it continues here. Those who prefer others' approval to God's approval show they have more faith in others than in God. And that to represent life is worth it, the present life is worth more than future life. Or even that they do not believe in the future life at all. If they say otherwise, they act as if they do not believe in what they say. Now, it's very clear here that we, again, as I mentioned before, should do good because it's the right thing to do. And we should do to praise God, not other humans. Why? Because what we do is related to the future life. And what the future life that I'm talking about is the spiritual life, is not the material life. If we focus our good and everything that you do in material life, we don't understand the present and we don't understand the future life. And it's very clear here the consequences that maybe you don't believe in future life, or maybe you say, but you don't follow through what you're saying. And that's the strong invitation. Jesus always brought those messages to shake us and take us from our comfort zone. And then Kardec here in the chapter 13, item 3, say how many there are who give only the hopes that the beneficiary will shout the benefit from the rooftops, who give large sums of broad daylight, but would not give a cent in darkness. This is why Jesus stated those who do good ostentatiously have already received their reward. In fact, here, if you think about who seek their own glorification or spotlight on earth because the good they are doing do have already been paid. If you think about, if I want the spotlight, if I want to show off, oh, look at me, how good I am, I'm doing this, and everyone applaud me and honor me, well, the job is done. You already have your payment, let's say this way, your payment. And God don't owe you anything because you already receive it. The only thing that remains from those that do that way remains what's the intention. If the intention is to feed my ego in my pride, there are consequences. And that's what we need to be careful when we're doing any act of good. We also need to understand the intention that we have behind this. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Is an image that Jesus used that wonderful characterize modest and beneficent. What is his message? What is Jesus really trying to show people here was the concept of humility. And the interesting thing, believe me or not, humility seems like a very good quality. And it is. Don't get me wrong. However, you have true humility that when you do things from your heart because you really have the intention, however, you have simulated humility. that you pretend that you are, but deep inside you have other intentions. So, and that's hard to distinguish because we do not know people's intention. However, you cannot hide from your conscience and from God. So then we have to be aware. What we are doing, we are seeking for what? So, what type of a reward we are looking for? And we need to understand that very clearly because ego and pride is going to lead us to a direction that we're going to regret later on. Ideally, we have to work ourselves towards true humility. And then you can ask me, well, Rodrigo, I kind of got the concept. So what is going on? But to be honest, how is that happen? So one way to do it is with kindness. Kindness without ostentation has twofold merit. Besides material charity, it portrays moral charity. Most of the time, humans understand only material charity. And that's what we do most of our times. We don't think much about moral charity. And remember that kindness is one of those that belongs to moral charity. Kindness is spared the susceptibility of its beneficiaries and enables them to accept the benefit without brushing their self-esteem. And it safeguards their human dignity. So because they will accept a service but not a handout. And that's what we have to be very careful. When we're doing charity, sometimes we want to give a handout. So we need to be very careful because remember, we have to help people in need because it's also helping us. We are the first one to have the benefits. And when we change this mindset, we change the way that we act towards those people. And Jesus' a really invitation here is really challenging because now changing a service into a handout because of the way it's rendered. So, which means, while doing charity is good, it doesn't mean that material charity is not good, but means that not only this is way more than that. And it's rendered is to humiliate the own who receives it, and there is always pride and malice involving humiliating another person. So, and that's a huge device here. We have to be careful the way that we do our charity, do not put ourselves in a superior position and feel those that we're helping that feel humiliated by our actions. And to find this balance, of course, you need kindness and you need also generosity. We need to be truthful, respectful, and honest in our heart to provide real aids to needy people. This is the meaning of true charity. True charity is sensitive and skillful. So you need to be skillful to do this. You have to be sensitive to the environment and the person that you're dealing with. In concealing the benefit rendered and in avoid the least harmful appearances, since any moral offense adds to the suffering born from need. So imagine now that if I go to some places here in Winnipeg, for example, you can think about your location, and that is a very poor community. And you arrive there with a fancy car, with fancy clothes. So what do you try to do it? What you're trying to accomplish with this behavior? You have to think about. So do you think they're going to feel comfortable with you around? So do you think that you're really showing that you are not harming them? And sometimes not even your direct intention is not my direct intention. We are not propose this to harm them, but intentionally, but it's because our ego and our pride make us blind to be more sensitive to the other place. How about it was the reverse? So then you are the needy one, and someone come close to you with a fancy clothes and a fancy car, and then gonna offer you something. So we need to be careful how we act. So this sort of charity is able to find kind and affable words that put beneficiaries at ease in the presence of their benefactors, where prideful charity crushes them. So now is the art because you have to reach out to them to show them that you have the best of intention and you don't want to harm them or you don't want to offend them. Because if you don't do that, if you go too prideful and you have this superior feeling, and I'm sorry, don't get me wrong, people know when we have that posture and position that we arrive in a place with a superior position. So basically, what we're trying to do is just backfire because we are just crushing them. Instead of helping, we're making the situation maybe even worse. And that's why we need to work to do the best choice. And knowing those teachings of Jesus help us to help people. So the sublime aspect of true generosity is present when benefactors switch roles and find a way for themselves to appear to be the actual beneficiaries of those to whom them render their services. Basically, here is saying the following: when we put ourselves in the position of those people that we are giving things and put us that they are giving us the opportunity of self enlightenment, improvement, and spiritual evolution, maybe we change the mindset that maybe I am not helping them only, but they also help me more than I help them because sometimes we're just giving them what they need, maybe food, maybe clothes, and they are giving away more, an understanding what's the real meaning of charity. And when we put ourselves in that scenario, we really start understanding the true meaning of charity. And this is what Jesus was talking about. That's the meaning of the words. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Jesus invites us to do good naturally, that we don't even notice that we are doing good because it's part of us. I'm sure 100% I'm going to give you a very simple example, and I hope Jesus can forgive me for this example. But when you are eating, so you have fork and knives, you use their left and arm hands, and you don't even notice what one is doing and the other is doing. When you play an instrument, and what Jesus is trying to teach us is this: if we do good all the time, you'll be conscious about our intentions and what our goals are. We move into a direction to be more conscious to help us first, to helping others. And then, because you repeat and become a routine, become part of us. And when this become part of us, who cares what other people gonna think or what they're gonna say? What matters is between you and God. So I would like to bring then a more to finish this reflection by giving an example. And this example is provided in the item number 4 that's called hidden misfortunes. And I'm going to give you a general aspect of this hidden misfortunes, and you're going to understand why. And then I'm going to have a practical example. So it's easy to identify charity during calamities. So, for example, if you have a big earthquake, or like Ukrainian or Russian war, so that's easy to identify. And this mobilized a lot of people. And that's good because we start getting hope in humanity again, because we start helping people from other nations, from other civilizations, from other cultures. So then we get that. That's important. Don't get me wrong. It's really important. And then manifest during these calamities. And one can see a generous drive to repair the damage. So you can see clear how much Canada is helping Ukrainians come to Canada. It's beautiful to see. It's heartbreaking to see what they are suffering, and is fulfilling the hopes of everyone that's involved in those work. But at the same time, alongside these general disasters that are easy to detect, there are thousands of private ones that go unnoticed, of people lying on beds of misery without complaining. These discreet and hidden misfortunes are the ones that true generosity knows how to find without waiting for their victims to come ask for assistance. So we probably, if we think about deep, deep, we know that there are a lot of people in need, and not only through calamities. So people with depression, people there in nursing homes, isolated, self-isolation. So we have so many others suffering, and of course, all they need helps. It's different levels of help and assistance, but you need to understand that generosity knows how to help, and we have to be connected to find out, because every single life is important, and it, we try to help as many as we can according to our abilities. So to be more precise, because sometimes we want to do big things and we need to do big impact, and I'm going to show an example here of true charity. So this is an example of a mother and a daughter. They dress simply but in a careful manner. They help the family where the father was in the hospital and the mother is taking care of the children. She has come to soothe all their pain. She has brought what they need, food and clothes. And this here is the material charity, along with gentle and consoling words that enable them to accept the benefit without being ashamed. And here is the moral charity. For these unfortunates are not professional beggars. If any of them are ill, no material care be denied. After visiting the family, this woman goes to the hospital to bring a little comfort to the father and to put his mind at ease regarding his family state of affairs. On the street corner waits a carriage, which is veritable stockroom of everything she takes to the main wards whom she visits one after the other. She asks them neither about their beliefs nor their opinions, for to her, all people are brothers and sisters. All are children of God. When she has finished her rounds, she tells herself, my day has begun very well. What's her name? Where does she live? No one knows. For the unfortunates, it's a name that reveals nothing. However, she's the angel of consolation. And at night, a symphony of blessing rises to the Father on her behalf. Catholic, Jews, Protestants, all bless her. Why does she dress so simply? It's because she does not wish to insult poverty with luxury. Why does her young daughter accompany her? In order to learn how beneficence should be practiced. The daughter also wants to practice charity, but her mother asks her, "What could you give my child, since you have nothing of your own? If I give you something to pass on to others, what merit would you have? In reality, I would be the one practicing charity in that case. If you were to receive the merit, it will not be just." When we visit the sick, you help me care for them. And giving of oneself is to give something. Doesn't that seem sufficient to you? When then, nothing could be simpler. Learn to make useful and make clothes for little ones. That way, you'll be given something that has come from yourself. Thus, this truly Christian mother is educating her daughter in the practice of the virtues taught by Christ. Is she a Spiritist? What does it matter? And to finish the story, at home, she's a woman of the world because her position requires is a rich woman. However, the world does not know what she does because she wants no other approval except from God and her own conscience. However, one day, one foreseen turn of events brings one of her wards to her home selling handmade articles. She recognizes her benefactress and wants to bless her. Hush, shh, says her benefactress. Do not tell anyone. And Jesus, as you saw at the beginning of our talk, also spoke in such a matter. So interestingly, this is example of this mother is a best example of true charity. I would like to thank you for listening to my talk today and share this reflection with me. And I'm open for questions if we have any.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo, for your presentation and the reflections on this important topic. It's always good to know more about those teachings. And I feel that this one specifically kind of bring us like the responsibility of being more like present and connected, like you were saying, right? Like in our daily lives, because we can do good things and we can impact the life of other people just by being present and kind of help the way that we can, right? Like sometimes we think in charity and it's like a huge action that impacts like a whole city or a whole country, right? But we forget that the small actions that we can do in our close friends or family or even in our like small circle that impact as well, right?
That's correct. And that's why the example of the mother and the daughter is so powerful because they are helping families. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not only with the material charity, it's the moral charity,
Yes.
all the teachings that are inside the act. So, and you can perceive kindness, you can perceive generosity, you can perceive all the moral qualities that we're looking for are in that example, item by item.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Yeah, we don't need to be big, big things because big things start with the small things.
Yes. So we have a couple of questions. The first one is from our brother Publio, and he's asking, nowadays with the social media, more and more people want to post, show, and get more attention. Sometimes it's not to do the good, but just to show off. Based on this, looks like Jesus' advice was directed to the future. How to understand this?
Well, well, that's a good question, Fulvio. So how we understand that? Yeah, Jesus knew us, right? Because what we're changing is just the way that we do the same thing over and over again. So the social media is the new toy,
Mhm,
right? So we did the other things before. We did gossipy. So we
mhm,
gossipy in our neighborhood. So I have the gossipy lady there that watch other people's life, and they are the social media that time, right? They
mhm,
spread the words around, and they want to know because they want to show they are important. And I think that the lesson here that it's the most important is what's the true intention behind your actions. Because we cannot judge other people's intentions, right? If they really show off and get the likes in the social media, as Jesus said, you already have your rewards. But
mhm,
your ego and your pride, you have consequences, and you're gonna face your own conscience later on. And then let's see how that goes. It's simple like that. So the social media could be a great tool to help people.
mhm,
We can use for many good things to help people, lift people, help those in need. Yeah, we have great examples. However, we have a choice and a free will to choose. So Jesus invites us to do good no matter what. And nobody needs to know. It's
mhm,
just between us and God at the end.
mhm. So we have another one, and it's from Rod. He says, positive actions can inspire others. So we should ask ourselves why we did it before showing it. It appears that intentions are the most influential factor in both cases, embracing goodness or ostentations. And this comment is like for you to just comment on that.
That's correct. So everything's related to the intention. So I could show, for example, to my group here in the Spiritism Canada that we do a lot of charity work, and we bounce ideas off each other. It's not to show off. It's not
Mhm,
I do charity in Winnipeg. You don't do in Toronto. You don't do in London. It's not the point. The point that we bounce ideas and create new ideas, and our intention is to help each other.
mhm,
So that is totally okay, but we need to remember if I am the one that share with London and that say that oh Winnipeg is better because we do this and you don't, so now we're missing the point.
mhm.
So and
We're
that's
not in a competition, right?
no, no, we're not supposed to,
Mhm,
but we need to be careful. And I agree, intention is the leading. So if
mhm,
you have a good intention, you have a good end. So if you have other intentions, then you have to face your consequences in your conscience later on.
mhm. And that's it for comments and questions for today. Thank you so much again, Rodrigo, for this amazing presentation. And thank you all for participating in the chat.
Thank you, Larissa. Have a nice night.
You as well. So now we will move on to the preparation for tonight's spiritual treatment. So, passes is the transfusion of spiritual energy with the goal of assisting with our physical, emotional, and mental balance. Passes help us to restore a state of harmony and peace by replacing negative energy with healthy and positive energy. In order to receive the best benefits from passes, please follow the audio instructions or remain in prayer. You may close your eyes to help with mentalization. During the pass, the water that you set aside will also absorb the spiritual energy that your family and you can benefit from. We will now make a prayer in preparation for the pass, which will also be our closing prayer. So please join with me in the prayer. So let's close our eyes once again and elevate our thoughts to our Master Jesus and to the friendly spirits that are here with us tonight. Thank you, Lord, for this great talk that we had today. May everyone that is listening or that will listening to this talk start to apply what they learned today in their daily lives. And may we receive all the benefits of the spiritual treatment that will start soon. We also would like to ask your protection and blessing for the week that we still have ahead. May you be with us today and always. So be it.
Let us now prepare ourselves for the moment of the passes and the magnetization of water. Let's now calm our hearts, breathing in and out. Pay attention to your body. Focus on your breath and let yourself be carried by this energy. Let your thoughts pass by without judging them. Let them flow. Allow this light to be the beacon that guides you, and allow these words to penetrate your energy. Make each word an anchor of gratitude, faith, and trust. With the purpose of healing, which takes away my faith, healing every feeling of separation, of pain, let it all dissolve in this moment, leaving only love, gratitude, and trust. We ask God for the presence of our guardian angel and the friendly spirits who welcome us into this enlightened environment of our Spiritist Center. We open our plexus of love and forgiveness by mentalizing a light surrounding our hearts. Find a quiet and comfortable place to begin the mentalization process. Remove all worries from your thoughts. We ask that during the pass you breathe slowly and deeply. Let your body relax and surrender yourself to a deep meditation. Calmly imagine divine energies in soft and colorful light surrounding you in an environment of peace and spiritual warmth. Entrusting God with your most intimate desires, raise your thoughts to Jesus and the emissaries of the spiritual environment. The pass begins with the cleansing of your soul. Imagine a waterfall of crystal clear water pouring over us, removing all the feelings that keep you away from faith and trust. Feel the energy of this water bathing you and deeply breathe in, feeling peace and harmony. Allow this water to wash away all the impurities and spiritual larvae, washing away all the sorrows and resentments, any feelings of hatred and revenge that hold us back and cause us harm, not only from this life, but past ones as well. Now visualize spiritual doctors around you, applying magnetic cleansing passes, sanitizing your spiritual body of all sadness and negative energy. Mentalize these negative thoughts and feelings being washed away, evaporating from your soul, like water evaporating into thin air, and being carried far away from your mind. Surround yourself with the faith that bathes your being, bringing clarity and lucidity, rebalancing every cell in your body. May the water envelop all pain and bring the clarity of opportunity that chooses peace. The answer arises in our hearts, freeing us from all evil, and freeing all whom we have caused evil into, and who have caused us evil, washing away all the connections that bind us. Even though we may not understand, we are freeing ourselves from all that causes us harm. Feel this cleansing penetrate your soul and release. Now that we are spiritually cleansed, imagine yourself surrounded by the light of love from the hands of Jesus. At this moment, sing words of faith and gratitude, being faithful to the light that exists in me, planted by the zealous Father. Imagine the sunlight that surrounds and enraptures, freeing us from the chains of everything that holds us down, strengthening your faith. Allow yourself to trust in this light, surrender to it, involved in pleasant feelings and feeling relieved to receive the strengthening lights. Mentalize your spiritual mentors now applying divine light for the strengthening of your mind and your emotions, leaving you feeling emotionally revitalized. Let us now mentalize the magnetization of this water. May we mentalize all the friendly spirits, magnetizing this water and filling it with everything that our bodies, minds, and soul need, so that it may be of help to us when we drink it after the Pass. Thank you, God.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We will be back next Tuesday here on Spiritism Canada and Continental Concafras Americas at 8:30 p.m. East, and next Wednesday on Kardec Radio at 8 p.m. East. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube from the Spiritism Canada and Spiritist group Paths of Light. Have a good night.
Sometimes it's not so easy. Sometimes it's not so close. Sometimes we build our dreams, but then we see them decompose. When you feel down the dumps, feeling sad and blue, give life a chance, my friend, the sun will shine again on you. Believe you can come through. The rainy days are true. Have little faith in you. Maybe tomorrow you can dream all your dreams again. Though some sorrow remains, it doesn't mean the end. Believe you can come through. The rainy days are true. Sometimes okay to feel blue. Have little faith in you. Dream all the dreams. your dreams can get you